Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. It feels like it's been quite a while since my last video, so why don't we go ahead and begin with another episode in our YouTube application series. And today we are going to further improve the playback options in our video player for our YouTube app. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my screen, and we can take a look at what we have in our last application here in the middle. By clicking on one of these cells, we launch the video player and it brings up a black screen, loads the video, and then plays back the actual stream for the video inside of our AVPlayer component. Now, some of the things that we are missing inside of the AVPlayer controller on the very top is the actual left component here that shows the video current playtime in seconds. So you'll notice that as the video is streaming along, the playback actually tracks the play time, and also the slider in the middle tracks the progress of the video played so far. So I want to show you guys how to do that, and furthermore, I want to show you guys how to make this gradient on the very bottom of the player. So if you can take a look at the very bottom here, it looks a little different because in this current application, we don't have that nice little fade into a clear color on the very top. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. All right, let's begin with some code. So like normal, or like what we do normally, I'm going to launch the code for our current application and see that we are in a very, very good place to start coding. So the first thing I want to do is to create the left label for the current time of the video. So you see the 16 seconds here. I want to introduce that on the left of the slider. And to very easily do that, we will go up to the file of video launcher inside of video player view. We will create this label right underneath this video length label. Let me just undo that. And this label is going to be called current time label, UILabel. Let's create this programmatically. And we'll create the UILabel like that. And because I want to save you guys on a little bit of time here, I'm just going to copy and paste all that stuff and execute the closure block, giving us the label like this. And I noticed that the font is a little big, or it's a little large for what I normally would prefer. So I'm going to shrink this down to 13. And the text is going to say 00, white color, and bold font. Text alignment, this is something I'm going to remove out of the label for the left side. And here is the interesting part. Let me just clean out these empty spaces. I want to actually place this label on the left of this slider. So here is the video length label on the right, and here is the slider. So right in between, I'm going to say controls, container view, add the sub view of current time label. And let me just get rid of the file explorer. And now I can actually place this into the left side with a couple of anchors like this. So current time label, and this will be left anchor, constrained to anchor of left anchor. So this is going to place on the left of the screen. And what else do we need? Well, current time label, bottom anchor. We'll constrain to the current bottom anchor like that. And then to actually get some width, we'll use the width anchor of constrained to constant. And I'm going to use a value of 50 because I noticed this label is quite large. So I'm going to shrink this 60 down to 50 as well for the video length label. And current time label, height anchor will also constrain to a constant of, let's say, 24, like what we have up here. And finally, I need to activate all these constraints. And there we go. So running this application now, we should be able to see the label on the left side of the video player. And here we go. You'll notice that the slider is actually placed on top of this 00 label here. So we'll fix that by going to the video slider right here. And you notice the left anchor is constrained also to the left edge of the screen. And we'll fix this by changing this left anchor to, let's see, what do we have here? Current time label dot right anchor. and I'll place it immediately on the right side of the current time label. And we'll see that effect immediately like this. So a couple of things that we kind of want to fix here is the placement of this left label. And the left one, you can actually modify this left anchor by introducing a constant of perhaps 8 pixels like that. And then I noticed it's kind of a little lower than I would like it to be. So inside of the bottom anchor, if we introduce a constant of -2, it'll push it up. So that's what -2 does. And to make it symmetrical with the other label, we'll also bump this up to constant of -2 as well. So running this, you'll see the spacing will be improved just a little bit. And there we go. Everything is a little bit centered. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's what I would call it. Being centered is a little nicer in terms of layout management. And here is where I want to introduce this gradient that fades from this blackish color to this transparent color right here. So how do we introduce a gradient inside of a view object? Well, it's pretty easy if you know how to do it. So instead of going into a long-winded explanation, why don't we just code it out, and you'll see in just a couple of lines we can introduce a gradient inside of this view. So to make it easy and to make sure your code is a little bit cleaner, I'm going to introduce a function called setUpGradientLayer is what we need. And this function is going to be located, let's see, all the way down here. And I'll make it a private function like that. Put some parentheses, and here's where we want to set up the actual black gradient. So how do you do that? Well, let's just create a gradient layer equals CA gradient layer like so. And in the very end, we actually want to add it onto this container view right here. So we have this container called controls container view. You can say layer, add sublayer of gradient layer. Now we will try to run this code, but obviously because the gradient layer doesn't have any properties on it, the actual gradient doesn't look like anything. So you see there's nothing there. So how do we get some colors inside of our gradient layer right here? Well, to make it really obvious for you guys, we will just create some red gradient with the colors of, so if you take a look at colors here, it is expecting an array of any objects, and you need to place some colors in here. So let's just use a red color. You actually need the CG color property. And if we use a color of, let's see, red color again, CG color, and now we have some colors for our gradient. But before we can actually get this inside of the view, or before the colors would actually render itself, you need to specify a frame of bounds. So bounds is the actual bounds for the entire area up here. And then the frame specifies where the gradient layer starts and ends. So if we run this, I don't think we'll see anything, but let's see what we get. So get there. Okay, so we in fact get this red view up here, and this is the entire gradient. So to make it seem, or to make it actually render a nice looking gradient from one color to another, we'll change this red color on the top to clear color. And let's see what that does. Hopefully you'll see a transparent red. So this black right here is actually the transparent color. And when the video renders, it renders through the transparency. So to very simply change the red to black, we'll just do black color. Pretty self-explanatory there. And to modify the location of the gradient, we actually need to change the locations property. So gradient layer, let's see, gradient layer, where are we? Locations equals this array of numbers right here. So this right here, you don't really see it until the video comes through. So that's where the black is. Now I want to modify the black layer to actually start a little lower than what it currently is. So this gradient actually starts somewhere down here. And to modify that, we introduce a couple of numbers inside of this locations array. And I find that 0.7 and 1.2 is a pretty good set of values for what the gradient needs to be. And upon running this, the gradient layer will actually move down a little bit and start from 1.2 here. So you can think of 0 as the very top, 1 as the very bottom, and 1.2 is somewhere down here. And 0.7 is somewhere right here. That's why you can kind of see a kind of a breaking line of black somewhere around here. Anyhow, you can modify these values and play around with some of the colors to render out very, very nice gradients. And this colors array is not limited to just 2 colors. You can introduce as many colors as you want. Just make sure your locations make sense for the color values. Anyhow, now that we have the gradient layer behind the some of the control components, we want to actually modify the code so that when you hit the play button, and let's start from 0 here. When you hit the play, the amount of seconds that's being played, or the playback progress so far, should reflect how long or the duration of the video inside of the AVPlayer. Now, to actually track the progress of the video, we will need to do a couple of things inside of Setup Player View. And so this is a little tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to show you guys how to actually add a progress monitor onto the AVPlayer component. So player, add periodic time observer for interval. So this is actually how you track the progress. And let's say track player progress is right here. And we need a couple of these parameters filled in. The first one is this interval guy here. Let interval equals cm time, cm time. And we'll use this value time scale constructor of 1 and 2. So I'm not exactly sure why 1 and 2 works, but I think it's the difference of 1 second is what we need to monitor. So let's just use this interval of 1 second. That's kind of what this means here. What is this queue? Well, dispatch get main queue for the main queue, and we'll hit enter here to get this this time guy right here. So it's like this progress time is what this block returns to us, and we will use this progress time to figure out what these labels should be and what the slider in the middle, what position the actual thumb needs to be. So if I just do this right here, let's say let seconds equals cm time get seconds of this progress time property here. And if I print out what seconds is, hopefully you guys can kind of see what this is doing. So let's get back to our current app and we'll run. And as soon as the video starts playing, you'll see this down here. So you notice how as the video progresses, the actual printing out kind of tracks the current time or the current playback time of the video. So that's how that works. And at the very end of the video, we'll get to 29 seconds roughly. So how does this actually translate into this label on the left here, this 8 seconds? Well, we just need to simply convert this value down here to a seconds string. So let's do that right here. Let seconds string equals this string right here. And we'll use format like this. So what is this format here? Well, to make it print out to, I guess, a leading 0 is what I'll call it. You need to use 0 to D and this arguments guy. So what is arguments? It is, let's see, basically it's seconds. Let's see, seconds modulus 60. So modulus 60. And for 17 seconds, this will return us a value of 17. That's what modulo does. It's pretty much the remainder operator. And here we will convert it down to an int is what this format argument needs. And finally, we'll say self.currentTimeLabel.text equals some kind of string. And I'll use 00 for the minutes right now and seconds string for the actual seconds. And let's get rid of the print statement there. And if I run the application, as the video progresses frame by frame, you'll see the actual label also changing, kind of corresponding to the actual playtime. And that is what you get. So to make this function, I guess, or this feature, to improve it just a little bit, is to actually introduce this minutes string right here. So instead of 00, your video clip can be, for example, perhaps 90 seconds. So this really needs to be correctly formatted. And to get this, we will just copy and paste the seconds, and instead of modulo 60, we'll just divide by 60. So that's how you get the minutes. I don't really want to go into too much explanation as to why that is. Hopefully you guys can figure out the math by just looking at the numbers. Anyways, that is what you get. And if we play the video again, we get the same functionality. If you plug in a longer video, the minutes should render out correctly. If not, please leave a comment below. Anyhow, let's move on to this slider guy right here. So you notice if I play the video, the slider thumb is what this circular component is called. It actually tracks kind of the progress of the video player. So how do we modify our app to do that? Well, right below this current time label, let's move the slider thumb here. And the slider thumb is a value of, what's the slider, video slider, dot current. Let's see, maybe it's not current value. Let's see, value. So it's equal to something. So what is this something here? Let's see, what do we want to do? Well, basically this slider goes from, or it starts from 0 to 1. And the actual value is the percentage of what is played. Let's see, the computation is the current playtime divided by the actual duration of the clip. So let's translate that into code by unwrapping the actual duration with an if let duration equals player.currentItem.duration. That gives us this cm time property. And if we let's see, what's this duration? Let's see, let duration seconds equals duration. See, not duration, but cm time get seconds from duration. So that gets us the 29 seconds in this specific example. I think we need a self here. Is that what we need? Yeah. And then we will actually set, let's see, video slider value equals, let's see, seconds right here. So this is the seconds from this guy right here. And we actually just need to divide by duration seconds, I believe. And because this value right here, let's see, let's remove this guy down here. What is this complaining about? Cannot convert float 64 to float. Well, why don't I do it for you just like that? And running into this, we should be able to get the correct rendering of the slider as the video plays. I'm just going to run the application now and play, wait for it to go, and there it is. So you notice the actual slider thumb will track the exact progress of the video during playback. And if you pause, the slider pauses and the left label also pauses. And when the player is completely finished, the slider is going to stop at the value of 1 because the actual seconds over duration in seconds is 1. So that's how you build out this kind of this progress monitor, if that's what you want to call it. And if you kind of slide the component over, you'll notice that the left label right here actually changes with the slider automatically. So you kind of get that for free because of the periodic time observer that we've implemented right there. So if I hit the play, you'll notice that the video plays again. And if I slide it over, it works pretty smoothly. It's a little jumpy, but that's just something that we have to live with for now. And I believe there's a bug with a play button. Sometimes it doesn't play, sometimes the toggle's wrong, but you kind of get the picture here as to what you need in order to build out a progress monitor. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's content. Also, the project is available for you to download and play around with in the description below. You'll be able to find a link to the exact project to download. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. All right, that's it for today. Hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.